Well, welcome back, y'all. We're back with another amazing poet, y'all. This National Poetry Awareness Month, and the entire month we are showcasing some amazing poets. We're giving them an opportunity to talk about why they started poetry, why they write poetry, all of those good things. How you can follow them, how you can get their poetry, all of those things. Today, I'm telling you, I have an amazing poet. Not only is she a poet, she's also one of the co-hosts over on the WBNN Beverly Nation Network, where y'all see me over there sometime. We are co-hosts over there on that amazing network. Shout out to Dr. O. I tell you, we get an opportunity to share. I've shared some of my poetry, and I am excited to be able to share her on today. Ava has taken the opportunity to be a part of several of my poetry collaborations, and just being able to read some of her poetry, I tell you, it has truly been amazing. But today, you're going to get an opportunity to get up close and personal with her. You're going to find out a little bit about who Ava is and why she started poetry. So I'm gonna move on out the way, y'all, because y'all know I can get to talking, but it's not about me today. It's about these amazing poets, and I tell you, I truly have one in the house today. So let me go ahead and bring her up. All right, all right. Come on, Ava.
Hello,
Well,
Miss Angela. How are you? How
how
are
are
you
you today?
today?
I'm
I'm
blessed. You
great.
know what? I can't complain. I can't complain. No need. No need,
I
because it
am.
could.
I hear you. I am really tired today. I threw a 70th surprise birthday party for my husband yesterday. Of course, getting him there was a little bit tricky, but it all worked out in the end. So I'm really tired.
I know he probably was surprised.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We needed that. We're going through a little bit right now, and like you said, no sense complaining, just taking it 1 minute at a time. But I'm so happy and honored to be here with you, my fellow poet, my fellow co-host. Just an amazing woman you are. Thank you for having me.
Well, I thank you for coming and sharing, and just allowing individuals to find out just a little bit about who Ava the poet is. Because
Okay.
I know you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah, I was just going
You
to
wear
say
a lot
that.
of
Yep.
hats.
Yep. Yep. Well, it's funny. I was thinking about connecting the dots. Maybe I'll write a poem about that. And I started writing poetry like in the second grade, and I have a little poetry book somewhere of my poems from the second grade. And I guess I've been writing poetry ever since then. I mean, I'm an author as well, just like you, yet I love poetry. I write simple poems just about life's circumstances and where we stand from time to time. I love to write poems for my friends that are having events. So I've written poems for people's weddings and, people's graduations and just, poems like that when there's a milestone that's crossed.
I tell you, being able to release, I got into poetry because I had so much inside that needed to come out. And sometimes I may not even publish or even share it with somebody, but I just write it down so that I can release it, so that I don't have to carry it. And I have to give a shout out to one of my therapists, because it was going through therapy that got me really into poetry. Even though I had wrote this poem for this lady, and she loved it, and I tell you, but truly being able to release it, and that therapist telling me to just write those words, and I'm talking about just writing it down and getting it out, it really helps. So what has been one of your favorite moments to write poetry for your friends?
I think one of my favorites was when my one friend got married. She and her husband were living together for a long time, but they never actually made it official. So they made it official, and I helped them plan the wedding. And I wrote a poem for them. And when I read the poem right there at the wedding for them, and it kind of choked me up a little bit. So I think that was one of my favorite moments because it was so fun to write for them and to see them come together like with a small group of people. We were outside in a gazebo and it was just so beautiful. So I think that had to be one of my favorites.
Wow. So I often ask people, why truly would you what would you tell someone that don't know if they are a poet or they have something that they want to share but don't know how to share it? What would you tell that person
Mm,
to get them to write?
that's a good question. I think what just came to my mind is that I would have them look in the mirror and try to get their thoughts out that way, looking at themselves, saying what they're feeling. And if they can do that and master that, then they can put the pen to the paper. Because once you put the pen to the paper, it's all your words anyway. So, and it's all your proprietary, property. So if they can look at themselves, and I do have a poem called "The Reflection of You," but if you're looking in the mirror at yourself speaking, it might be a way to help release. And there's nobody else there but you looking back at you. So I think I would say that try to get your thoughts across, seeing yourself in front of a mirror. And then from there, maybe you can get it to the paper.
Wow. And you are a part of, oh, you also was one of the 18 poets that was nominated for Poet of the Year on behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine. Now, what did that feel like? Getting that letter or that call saying that you were nominated.
That's kind of interesting. I feel honored and blessed, and I thank you for that. Uh, like I said, sometimes I look at other poets and their poems are so intricate. My poems are very simple, yet I'm just feeding on the thoughts of how I feel. And it was really like deeply touching and honored to be a part of that whole group with those amazing other poets. So I'm really excited to connect with them and to, share our works and to just be supportive of each other.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I heard that you guys have a book that's dropping soon. What was that like? Being able to share in that anthology.
Oh, that's amazing. When collaboration is key. When you can collaborate with others and make something happen, it's truly amazing what happens. And you're fabulous at that, Angela, and to put our teams together and make these things where we collaborate with each other. Everybody's style is different, everybody's personality is different, and everybody comes across differently. So if there's an anthology, there's something for everybody. So it's so fun and it's so great to be able to do that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, did you bring anything today to share with
I,
us?
I do. I have a poem. Would you like me to share a poem?
Yes, of
Yes.
course.
Okay. This is fairly new. I think you may have seen it before because I think we put it in one of the anthologies. But I really like this one because I think in these times today, we need to sit back and think about what we go through. So the poem is entitled What We Go Through. And here it is. Walk a mile in my shoes, we say. Think that will push all your troubles away. We must learn to take each moment as a gift, no matter how much we feel robbed, hurt, or ripped. Your reality depends on how you react. Keep your mind intact. From healthy habits to promote cognitive function. Support your brain with construction of a plan. Support your heart with self love in your grand plan. When you feel like every bit of you is a question why, come back with an answer to fuel your soul and don't cry. Okay, cry if you must. Then pull it together. Use those tears to get through any kind of weather. Pray to the Lord, for He leads you to and He leads you through to make your life better. Only the strong survive. So get up one more time than you fall and thrive.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
So, If individuals want to connect with you, if they want to purchase your books, they want to hear some of your poetry, how can they do that?
Well, the best place right now is to find me on Facebook. And like you said, I wear a lot of hats, so my website is being condensed. And with everything we're going through right now, it's taking a bit of time. So find me on Facebook under Ava Holly, public figure. From there, you'll find all the other links because my whole full long name is the main page with over 4,000 followers. So I'm not moving that. So go to Ava Holly, public figure. You can find any links there. You can message me privately. You can, talk about my books, get my book, ask about poetry, and ask me anything you like. So again, it's Facebook, Ava Holly, public figure. And thank you, Miss Angela, for having me. You're always such a special person in my life.
And do you have anything in the works? Anything. It doesn't have to be poetry. Anything that you
Yeah.
may have coming up.
Well, we are looking to move all of my special event planning, all of the things that we do, into a brick and mortar location known as a bed and breakfast. It's been a 2-year journey and it's been crazy. We are looking to be up in the Finger Lakes in the upstate New York area. Yet I will let you know when that actually happens because we're still on the hunt and every property we have found has been scarfed up by somebody else before I could get it. So all of our ducks are in a row. We just need to land somewhere. We have a wonderful yoga retreat planned for the bed and breakfast already once we land. So maybe we can bring our poetry group out to the B&B and do something special live on podcast. So stay tuned for that information. That's a big thing that's in the works right now. We also do pocketbooks for charity. Again, it's on a little bit of a back burner, yet we do have some available, and we have 21 charities that we give back to on a quarterly basis across the country. So, thank you for letting me share that. And if anything, or I should say, when everything comes together, we will keep you posted.
Definitely, definitely. You're always welcome to come back and share. Definitely, definitely. Looking forward to the bed and breakfast.
Oh,
I
me
heard
too.
you
Oh,
talk about it once. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to be praying for you. That
thank you.
some doors will open. That some doors will open for you because I know that that is something that you are truly passionate about. Because
Yes,
I've heard
ma'am.
you talk about it before. So I definitely am rooting for you. And again, I want to thank you for allowing us to find out a little bit more about you and for you sharing your poetry and all that you do. So keep putting the pen on the paper, keep sharing from your heart and soul, and know that we here at Aspiring Authors Magazine is rooting for you and we're on your side. Love you, girl.
Thank you so much. Love you too. Thank you. Have a great
You
day.
have a great rest of your day.
You too.
All right.
And I've done a couple of books and just expose myself to the things that God has laid on my heart to do.
So how did you get into poetry?
Okay, I started in poetry when I was in high school. Excuse me. I joined the excuse me. I joined the poetry club in high school, and I joined the journalism classes and English class. And my instructor was all into writing, so he encouraged me to continue writing, and I did. I took a break in between though, but I continued to do what I was felt led to do.
So how has poetry helped you process and understand your experiences and emotions?
Okay, so when I started writing poetry, I started writing The teacher wanted us to rhyme and stuff like that, but I felt more comfortable putting my life in my poetry. And that helped me bring it to life because I could understand me, and then to make it rhyme, it was another experience. So um, that's how I started. I put myself in my poetry and all the things that affected me throughout life, and that's
Right.
how it made me grow and develop.
So, what is one of your favorite parts of the poetry writing process, from ideal to the final piece?
Well, the idea is just you know do meditation and just let it flow, and then I do like put it on scrap paper first, and then I try to work with it to my whole goal is to help someone else, help women move forward. So I focus on helping women grow and develop through the poetry. Like if I've been through being battered, I tailor make the poetry to fit that, so someone else, when they read it, it will be helpful.
So, have you ever experienced writer's block while trying to write a piece?
Yes, and what I did was I consulted other writers, and that kind of helped me. They gave me their ideas on how to get through it, and just sometimes just taking a little break and just going to the park or just um, just meditating and working through it. Just maybe jotting down all my thoughts. They would always tell me don't throw anything away, so that helped too. So I just when I get a writer's block, just review and meditate on it. Just review and meditate. That was very helpful to me.
Do you have any type of daily or weekly ritual that helps spark your creativity as a poet?
Yes, but sometimes I get up in the middle of the night, and I learned that keep a journal beside you, just to write down something, and then I was taught never throw anything away because had information from high school, and I'm an older woman. Uh, so, and I was in high school in 1972. So I kept all those records because the instructor was saying that you never know when you're going to use it. And I find myself now going back to things that I wrote then and new stuff. I try to add new things. And I listen to the news media and try to put things in that to keep it current. And that's
So,
been very helpful.
what advice would you give to someone that may not feel that they are good enough to write poetry? Because for me, I never thought that I would be writing poetry. I never thought that. Never thought I would be an author. Sometimes I look at all of the works that I've done, and I'm amazed. Sometimes I can't believe that that's what I done. What would you tell someone that may have had that same thought, that may feel that they're not good enough to write poetry?
Well, I think it's a divine setup because it was somebody on my job, and she would always um pull out her books, her poetry books. I was like, wow, I like that. And then she kept saying, well, you can write poetry. And so what I did was when I started writing, she would review it and she fell in love with it. So I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. Uh, but it started out slow. It started out with maybe one stanza, like one, maybe two bars. And that's how I began. You just let it out. If that's in your heart, you have to just put it on paper, wait it out, and see what happens.
Wow. So, do you have a piece that you would like to share with us today?
um, Not at this time, but I did. The one that really stands out for me is that Nightmare in Love, when I was attracted to someone and they were not what God had for me. So that's my biggest love poem. And then I got another one. I'm just putting the titles out there. You Cheated, and that's when I got married. and I wrote a poem about. I thought my husband cheated, so it's called "You Cheated," and the other one, the first one, is "Nightmare Love." They're geared to trauma drama, most of them. Getting through that moment when those things happen, so you could, forgive somebody. So I had to have a lot of help. I had to talk to other authors and other people, because once it started growing in you, and you can't let it go. So I started, you know, maybe Google it or find out more about it, and I was just drawn into it. So I've been writing since 1998. So I go way back with the writing, and
So how
it's
did it feel when you first published your first poetry piece?
it was exciting because it was an ad on the TV about anybody who wants to publish or write, and I had compiled a bunch of stuff. So when my brother said, "I'm going to enter you," I was like, "Oh no!" Then I had to grab all the pieces together and come up with poetry, come up with the book. Um, since I write in prose, since he put me on the spot, it seemed like I had to do it. And I think God puts people in your path to get you going, because He knows that this is something He wants to put in the earth realm. So, and then my brothers was always speaking in the atmosphere. They're good on that. You have what you say, or as a man thinketh, so is he. So they turned me in, and then that's how it got started. Then the writers, or the they started contacting me on writing, and now it's off the chain. They call my phone, they call everything, want to interview, they want to do a lot of stuff. So it's exciting. It's exciting. That's how it all started. My family, your family, they love you and they want to push you, and then you find other people that want to push you along and encourage you to do things.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So on this journey, was it easy to first get into poetry? Because for me, I kind of got like pushed into it. It's like I didn't. It's like poetry found me. I was preparing for a conference. I actually thought I was going to be speaking, but the young lady that was over the conference, she just wanted me to put together a poem and read a poem. She gave me the topic, which was based on Proverbs 31. I titled the poem "The Victorious Virtuous Woman." And when I read it
Mhm.
to her, she was so happy and just so pleased with it. She said, "Can I get a copy of that?" She was like, she wanted to frame it. She wanted to put it in a frame and hang it
Mhm.
up because that it just touched her that much. And it's like since then, I just been writing, 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 writing. I stopped doing a lot of the devotions that I used to do, and I
Mhm.
started going towards writing a lot of poems. When people hear them, they like them. And at first, I was just writing down words, and I
Mhm.
like to speak them. I like to, because over on the network that I'm on, all of them are poets, and I listen to them, and I was like, I can't compete with them because they can at the drop of the dime. You give them a topic,
Mhm.
they can come up with something just like that. I can't do that.
Mhm.
I just have to sit there and write my words down, and then I have to read over them and put emotion behind them and make people like kind of feel what I'm saying through my emotions. I like
Mhm.
spoken word a whole lot because you get to truly express. Only thing about spoken word I don't like is you got to memorize all that stuff, and some of my poems be long. So
Mhm.
that's one of the things that kind of bother me. So do you do spoken word?
No, I never tried that before, but I've been told that I have a prophetic gift. So when something pops up, I want God to be involved. So most of my poetry is inspiration, as far as I feel like the Lord is speaking through me. So I will jot that down because I want to make sure that what He wants to say to the through the poetry, that comes through. So anyone that reads my poetry, I put inspired by God, so they know that some of it is me and some of it is the Lord speaking through me. So and I used to do online prophecy, prophetic is poetry online, but that was years ago. And so, God leads us on a path. So, and that's what eventually it got to be, books with God speaking through them. So if anybody ever pick up my book, and they would see the poetry side, and they'll see God's side, and then they go into poetry. I try to get it all like that. And I think that's why a lot of I've been known as 100 Woman to Know in America, is because somebody got a hold of my book. You never know. You put it out there, your poetry. Someone get a hold of it and really like it, and they just let it blow up. They read it and say, "I like this." So that's how this journey is continuing. And I have to give God the glory, honor, and praise, because I never knew it was going to go this far. Poetry, you never know; it's going to touch somebody's heart. And
I
and it's just the beginning. I mean, whoever writes poetry, somebody is going to catch somebody's attention, because they're going through and they need to hear that. They need to hear those words. It's and the rhyming part is like a melody to them. It's soothing, and it draws them in, and it's comforting. And that's one reason I get into poetry too, because it's just relaxing. You hear it. It makes your mind really go into recovery.
right.
It recovers the wounds.
So if there's someone out there that would like to purchase some of your books, how are they able to get your books?
Or they can go on Amazon. It's on social media. Barnes and Nobles. Um, it's out there. There's ebooks. You just Google my name under Amazon, Dr. Brendel Thomas Francis, and you'll read upon them. And some of them are just still in the copyright, because I haven't really published all of them, but I do have copyrights for all of them, all my poetry. But the published parts are in. You can get through Amazon and Barnes and Noble, all the social media.
Awesome, 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 awesome. So, are you working on anything right now?
I am working on a magazine, and I was going to talk to you later about that, because it's it's created. It's poetry through the magazine, but it's still just an idea right now. But uh, and it's women walking through life poetically. So it's a different idea, but I'm getting started and I'm excited. And I was going to talk to you later about the magazine part, because I don't know how to put a magazine together, but that's something that God wants me to work on. Poetry, women walking through stuff poetically, but each page will be something poetic with the picture
Awesome,
and all.
awesome. That's
Hmm.
great.
Hmm.
Because for a minute, I really thought poetry was dying down. It's been the last maybe 5 or 6 years that I've really seen it really resonate to people. I really saw a lot of people doing stuff during the pandemic
Hmm.
back in 2020. Um,
Hmm.
out some of the amazing poets that's going to be featured inside of that book. And she's also going to be featured in our special edition of Aspiring Authors Magazine. Y'all, this is our 5th year producing a poetry only magazine where we're sharing nothing but poets and their poems. So you get an opportunity to connect with some poets. So I'm going to move on out the way because it's truly not about me. And I'm going to bring up our special guest on today. Her name is Rolanda Powell, and we are excited to have her in the building today. So come on, come on, come on in the room. Come on in the room. How are you?
I'm fine. I have to apologize for the computer issues today.
It's okay. We know that technology sometimes cannot be our best friend. But yet we press, we don't stop, we keep going. And I just want to give you an opportunity to speak to the people on today. Tell them a little bit about you because you definitely have an amazing resume. So tell them, who is Rolanda?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. First of all, I'm a social worker and I work in the field of aging. I work with caregivers and grandparents raising grandchildren and the elderly and helping them get services. And I've been in social work, doing social work for years, for decades now. I am an author. I have four books. One is a children's story book, Grandma's Hands. Other two are poetry books, and one is a devotional. I love writing, and I write poetry and other types of writing, but I do mostly poetry. Other than that, I just do like certain things. I'm very much into sports. I'm a Knicks fan and a Liberty fan and um Mets fan, and that's a general overview of me.
Wow. Out of all the things that you could have done, why did you choose to express through poetry?
See, I don't really feel that I chose poetry. I felt poetry chose me. I feel that when I was young, I was very introverted and shy, and I wasn't happy about certain things in my life. And so I didn't think that I expressed myself well speaking. So I started writing. I started keeping diaries and stuff. And my brother and sister used to take my diaries and steal them and read them and then come back and tell me everything I wrote in them, which wasn't supposed to be for them to read. But I always wrote. And so I just started writing poetry. I don't think it was something I chose to do really. And then when I was in eighth grade, my eighth grade teacher told me that I had a creative writing ability, and that stuck with me. That was one of the things that stuck with me. So I kept writing. And what happened was years after, when I started working and stuff, I would write poems for different events, like for Black History Month, or if they had a celebration at the job, and every time something came up, then people would start asking me to write. So I continued writing. So, but I don't think I
Wow.
really chose poetry or chose writing. Mhm.
So what's one of your most favorite poems that you have written?
Well, one of my favorite is Finally, which is my first book, and that's because the poem and the book is because it was I finally did a book after years of writing poetry. Everybody kept telling me you need to put it together, you need to put them all together. So I finally did it. So my poem, one of my favorites is Finally. Another one is a tribute to Daddy's music. My father loved jazz, and so we grew up on jazz. So I wrote a poem about that. Another one is about Harlem, where I was born in Harlem in Manhattan, even though I live in Brooklyn all of my life. So Harlem has a special place for me. I mean, I have a lot of favorites, really.
Wow. So if you were if you could go back and tell your teen years something through poetry, what would you tell them?
In my teen years, I would tell myself that it's all going to work out. And because what happened to me, like what I thought was the worst thing in my life turned out to be the best thing in my life years later. So I would tell my teenage self that it's all going to work out and it's all going to work out for your good, even though it might not seem good now, everything's going to work out for your good. And I would, tell them in a poem frame.
What's one of the how have you used poetry to be able to impact those that you come in contact with um, in your community?
Well, I've like written poems for different situations. Like I've written poems for caregivers. I've written a poem about grandparents raising grandchildren. I've written a poem about growing older. So when I work in my community, especially with seniors, and I have a poem really dealing with most of their situations. I have a when I was in the hospital, I wrote a poem about being in the hospital. So I think people can relate because I write about different situations. And the situations that I've been in, but also situations that I've worked with or I've seen other people in.
I'm sorry. I should have
Mm-hmm.
turned my phone off. Somebody trying to call me.
Mm-hmm. That's
Go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah, so I've written about certain situations that I've been in, and also situations that relate to other people can relate to because they've been in the situations too.
Wow. So I know you said that you are a social worker. How has social working played a part in your poetry?
Well, I think it's played a part of my poetry because I write a lot about what I've done. I wrote a poem about social workers. I wrote a poem about my favorite population that I work with was grandparents raising grandchildren, and I wrote a poem about that. I wrote a poem about, I work with older adult seniors, and I wrote a poem about growing older. So I kind of have written poems about everything that I've really worked with, and every area that I've really worked in. I've written a poem about it, and to, those who are in that situation.
So if you could say something to someone that is aspiring to be a poet, what would you say to that person to get them started?
I would say just to sit down and write because, like I said, I didn't really plan to be a poet, but I would just say sit down and write what's on your heart. And then, once you do and, you finalize it, share it with someone, share it with people and see how it affects them. And once you know that it affects them, you know that you've done something that you were kind of called to do or that was needed at the time.
So, what do you have any poetry today? And
Yeah.
I want you to share with those that are listening how they can get some of your poetry, how they can support some of the things that you're doing. Or are you currently working on anything?
I'm always writing poems. I mean, that's one of the things. I'm always writing poems. A situation will come up and I'll say, I should probably write about this. So I'm always working on different poems. I'm working on my memoir, telling my story, my life story. That's my main project that I'm working on. So I'm working on that. I submit to a lot of different publications, and there's a couple of publications that I really want to be a part of. So I'm working on submitting something to that. And people are encouraging me. My children's storybook was about a child who has to end up living with their grandparent because their parents are deceased, and people are asking me to write a part two to it. So I'm thinking about doing that. So those are all like projects that I'm either thinking about or that I'm currently doing. But poetry, I mean, it's just something that I'm always writing. I don't have one right in front of me right now, which I should have brought, but let me see if I could pull something up. Um,
If people wanted to reach out to you, how would they be able to connect with you, possibly get your books,
well,
and keep
they
up
could
with what you're doing?
they could go to my website, which is www dot Rorose, ROROS communications.com. That's www.rorosecommunications.com. Or they can email me at roro production, RORO production at AOL.com. And I can, but if they go to the website, they'll see the different books, the prices, and everything will be right there on the website.
Since we are celebrating National Poetry Awareness Month, what does that mean to you?